Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Tonight we have Angela Petrilli on. How are you?
Sean, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
It's been a real joy to work with the folks at Fishman for the Riff Rundown. They reached out to me about a year ago, and they asked because I've been working with them back and forth for quite a few years now, and
Mhm.
they said, hey, we'd love to have you do a weekly takeover. Feel free to have the theme be whatever you'd like. And I thought about it, and I thought, gosh, a live lesson might
Yeah.
be kind of cool. Let's see how this goes. And I approached them with that idea and they said, absolutely, let's go for it. And it has been so much fun. The whole live thing is a little interesting because I really got to know my stuff and get ready
Yeah,
for
but
questions and all of that. But it has been such a blast. I really enjoy it. And I've been teaching on Skype, gosh, going on 5 years now.
wow.
So
Oh, so
so
you were ready for
yeah.
ready
So
for the apocalypse
yeah,
early, huh?
yeah, and in a lot of ways I was very prepared. So did a lot more teaching during the COVID. So but yeah, I've been really enjoying the Fishman takeovers with the Riff Rundown, and it has been so lovely hearing from people all over the world about how these lessons are helping them and learn songs they've always wanted to
Well,
play. It's pretty
it's
cool. It's
fun.
pretty
It's
cool.
fun.
Very
Like even
thankful.
yeah, because there's different levels of guitar playing. There's like, your level, but then there's like my level who just likes to play and it feels just so good to get a song right. And it's so satisfying. And then it's so good to watch somebody play at your level on stage and be like, it feels so good to watch that. So and there's never I don't think there's like too many people out there for lessons either because it's great. It's almost like, I think even with some podcasts, because everybody talks differently, everybody teaches differently. You can watch the same interview by two different people and get two different
Absolutely.
things from it, you
Right.
know?
It's all about, and that's a great thing. I consider myself a student, even though, I've been a teacher on YouTube or a teacher, in
Yeah.
real life and all of this stuff. I am constantly a student. Always. I
Yeah.
will always consider myself a student. And it is so fun watching other folks teach. And say even listening to other people interview and say we're even talking about the
Yeah.
same exact topic. It's all about perspective and how much we can learn from each other through these different perspectives. I think is just incredibly fascinating. And again, it just really it allows you to grow as a player and a human being. It's a beautiful thing.
It's very exciting. It's an exciting time for a guitar player when you can do things like you can put on your app, you can play it quietly at night and not get a pillow over your head because you woke up your spouse.
Totally.
That's why I'm here right now because I have so many little adapters. I mean, don't get me wrong, wrong way. I got a Vox, I got all kinds of amp stuff, and
I
it's
know. I see
loud.
some of the stuff back there. It's great.
I even have a little mini plug-in box, but sometimes you can plug it on your phone and do little adapters, little apps and stuff.
Totally.
Tone Bridge and Ultimate Guitar and stuff.
Love it.
But could you give the audience that's new to you? We're gonna put all your links so people can go to see all because you do a lot of different things. So all the links will be there so they can check you out deeper after our discussion. Can you tell a little brief bio to people that are new to you?
Absolutely. So my name is Angela Petrilli. I'm a guitar player based in Los Angeles, play acoustic and electric guitar, dabble in mandolin, and I got a tenor guitar about a year and a half ago. It's been really fun
Ooh,
to figure out how to play it. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a 1960 Martin, all
wow.
mahogany. Yeah, 015. I got it over at Norm's. But let's see,
Everything's
folks.
there.
It's everything's there. It's awesome.
Someday I will go there. I will travel
You
across the
will, and
country
it's
to go
it's
there.
fantastic. It's fantastic. Such a great spot. But I do a lot of social media stuff as well. I have an Instagram channel named Angela Petrilli Music, and I play some of my favorite, riffs on guitar and all that good stuff. It's been a blast. I have a show called Petrilli Picks with the fine folks at Norman's Rare Guitars. They're like family to me.
Yep.
So I have my own segment there where I get to go hog wild and pick out any guitar I like at the store and play it and feature it. It's been a blast. As I mentioned a few moments
Fun.
ago, I'm host of the Riff Rundown with the other fine folks at Fishman. And every week, every Saturday, particularly at 12 p.m. Pacific time, I go live on many YouTube channels and Facebook and all that good stuff and teach people how to play a song in real time for, about an hour usually. And it is such a blast. I teach I've taught with Jennifer Batten, who has worked with some folks named Jeff Beck and Michael Jackson.
There's
You
that
guys
Michael
may
Jackson
be,
guy.
yeah, might be familiar with them. Maybe,
I
maybe.
was just listening to her on Dweezil's podcast. Actually, she was talking about her being
she
influenced. She
she has
rips.
a heart of gold. She is a phenomenal musician, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
an even more wonderful human being too. She's got such a
I
big
don't think she's
heart.
got enough of her due though either. I think almost because it's
She,
like you hear like female guitarists, and let's face it, nowadays things are a little bit better. But for a while, there was like a handful of female guitarists that you would name, right?
yeah,
It was almost like a thing because oh, they're female, they play guitar really good. No, but she's like a really, really, she's just guitarist.
she is she is fabulous. I think
Yeah.
just a top tier musician, and I'm so honored to call her a friend and colleague, and I've worked alongside her with her Guitar Cloud Symposium guitar
Oh,
clinics that you can check out. Yeah,
yeah.
and just she gets some really really amazing folks there. Vicky Ginfen, my good pal Gretchen Mann from Zepparella, and Neely Brosh, Greg Koch. Who else? Gosh, so many
So much
fantastic,
talent.
fantastic. Yeah, and it's an honor to be named alongside some of those really awesome guitar players.
You're
So
pretty good
yeah,
yourself.
I love what I do. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's yeah, brings me a lot of joy. Brings me a lot of
Good.
joy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was just playing around with your Zeppelin 10 your last post you did the Zeppelin with
10
10
years gone. Yeah,
yes,
how's
10
it
years
going
gone.
for you?
It's going.
Good, good.
It's all right.
Got it in drop D.
Yeah, I think I
All
just want
right.
I think I need to get the adapter though, so I can just do the drop D. I hate changing and
Get it in
you
drop
know,
D. It's gonna make it sound just
yeah.
even just for that one little riff. I mean, could you play it in standard? You probably could.
No, I
But
know, but
again, I try to do it true to at least the best of my ability, true to how the artist
and
played
that's the
it.
whole problem is because then I find myself playing around with the amp because I want the tone to be good. And I really need to
Right.
focus on playing the song first. That's
Day at a
me.
time, one piece at a time, you'll get there.
Not me.
You'll
I want
get
to do
there.
everything at once. I want everything at once perfect.
Slow and steady, as I say in the lesson.
No,
Slow and
but
steady.
luckily I can rewind your video and you don't get mad at me for saying asking the same question. I can just rewind it.
See, but that's what's so great about them is you can go back and watch these anytime. Because I know a lot of those lesson videos are shorter. With this, we thought it might be kind of cool. And like, hey, let's see if folks are gonna, take to this, even though it's an hour-long lesson. But we really, really break things down and take it part by part, piece by piece, note by note,
Yeah.
chord by chord. It's been really, really lovely to see these
How about
lessons
the questions
growing
though?
week by week.
People asking other questions. People are afraid to ask questions
That's so
inherently, I think.
true. I know. I
So in that
agree.
group setting, somebody may ask a question that somebody else might not. So there might be so many people that got the answer because they
Correct.
were afraid to ask it. Somebody else asked in that chat, which is kind of great. I like to go through the chat because
Yeah,
that's a real big part of what you have.
the chat element is really, really important too. It's something the folks at Iron Fishman really, really talked about. And I really wanted that to be part of this as well. Cause again, in a community of learning, we could, going back to what I said a moment ago about perspective, it's really important to go and, okay, so and so had this idea. Well, why is it like this? Why are you playing that chord this way? Or wait, how is that bar chord different than the regular chord if I play it up here by the headstock? It's a wonderful opportunity and a good forum to go ahead and talk about all of these kinds of questions and to never feel stupid. And that's something I see too, even with my one-on-one students that I have. And I always state it. I go there. This is a zero judgment zone.
Mm-hmm.
No stupid questions. The term stupid question does not exist in this realm. It doesn't. A question is a question. It's not stupid. If you really don't know, like, oh my gosh, well,
Right.
why? Because I'm the type of person, at least when I teach, I tell you why I do this a certain way or why I think this is good technique to do it like this. I don't want you to just take my word for it. Well, that's a G chord. Oh, well, Angela said that's a G chord. I guess it's a G chord. Cool. But I want to be like, no, this is a G chord because it has the 3 notes that you need to make the G chord, a G, B, and D. And anywhere you play G, B, and D together, guess what? That's going to be a G chord too. So because I get it, the instrument itself can seem very scary. You have all of these strings and all of these notes and I'm trying to figure out these chords and how do you play them and how do you make these sound the way they do? But if you break it down piece by piece, you begin to understand the instrument. And then you begin to fall in love with it in a completely different way and not just this sort of, well, I guess I'll put my finger here because someone told me to put my fingers here to create this chord. When you have a knowledge of, even if it's just a little bit and you start there, oh, well, that's the E string. And if I put my first finger on the first fret of the E string, that's an F. And I just changed the note. Oh my God, that's really cool. Well, and that's what a half step is. Oh, cool. Well, if I move that F and I bring it up a whole step, that's got to be G, right? and you would be correct. And then, oh, well, if you find an F somewhere else on the fretboard and then you move that up a whole step, guess what? That's also going to be G. So it starts with these little things. And once you learn something,
Yeah.
it becomes contagious, right? And you want to learn more things and you get excited. You're like, wait, I kind of want to learn a little bit more theory or why that is. That's really interesting. And then that's where the learning goes. And that's how it continues to
And
grow.
then you
You
tell
just
them,
keep watering it.
once you know it all, and then you learn the guitar. So was they play it, and then they start putting bad notes, and then they shouldn't be in there, but it sounds perfect into the next chord progression, like Eddie Van Halen plays a note that's not even a real note or a bad note. You know what I'm saying? Goes from here to here to here, and you're like, what? And then just throws you off again. I just want to say, because I'm getting the point.
One of my music mentors, he always says this, and I still play with him all of the time because he is just a bottomless pit of musical knowledge and is just also just an incredible human being. My friend Sean, and he always says there's no such thing as bad notes. It's bad resolutions. I love that. It's true. You know, so it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. Yeah, we always get a good chuckle out of that.
I've been listening to the breakdown of Eddie Van Halen stuff on one of the podcasts, on Dweezil's podcast he's got, and Jennifer Batt was actually on that one. And they're talking about how he does that, and there's just parts where he just goes where he shouldn't be, and he just sweeps in and does something and goes back out again. And me as a guitar player, I'm learning my notes, just like you, I'm going to the basics, and then I'm hearing that. I'm like, come on, I'm just trying to go in the right way first. Now he's making, you know what I mean? Or, you know, listen to songs, you hear them on the radio, everything feels like background noise. Everything at some point you hear so much, right? But then you start playing guitar and you start getting better. And you start playing guitar for other songs that maybe you didn't like, even if it's not your genre or whatever. And you figure out how they played a certain thing. It gets exciting. You're like, oh my God, I didn't realize. So that's why they're a good guitar player. Not because the riff is interesting, like just other reasons why, how the riff was built and the fingering and the position. You're like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And to me, that I fall in love with music all over because of that. Just rediscovering how fantastic and how people build songs and the structure, to me, is like one of my favorite things of guitar right now.
Absolutely. Me too.
You know, it's incredible. When you transition from playing guitar and teaching, was it a hard transition for you?
I think it took a little bit. I went to UCLA and I got my bachelor's in communications and with an emphasis in mass media, but I also took a lot of interpersonal communication classes. People are profoundly interesting to me, how we speak to one another and how we talk.
They were up until the last couple of years.
People are always interesting to me. I was always a really observant kid, and I find language very interesting, the way that we speak to each other, you know, nonverbal communication, I find very, very interesting. And then it's funny, you know, I go and become a musician and that's all about nonverbal communication.
Well, at some level.
You know, so it's a really interesting thing, but in terms of teaching, it's not for everybody. You can be a fantastic guitar player. I am friends with some incredible musicians. They're like, yeah, just teaching isn't my thing. Cool. That's okay. You can still be really great. And if teaching's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's totally fine.
It's probably better you don't teach.
With me, you know, perhaps with me and teaching, it is all about being very concise, very clear. Talk about what you want to talk about and just talk about it. Don't lollygag. You know, what's the most efficient way to point A to point B? It's a straight line. So if you want to say something, you just say it. Okay, here's how you play this chord. Da-da-da-da. Don't go and embellish it too much to where you're going to start to lose people. Or, okay, here's the scale, or here's this mode and how this works, or whatever. Be very, very clear and concise with the communication. I like to think in terms of bullet points. This goes to this, goes to this, goes to this. We don't want to, like, it is a fear of mine to lose people. I like to give folks information that is palatable, that is digestible. And you give folks enough information that they need. When more questions are asked, you answer them. But let that information be soaked in and digested.
You can be a motivational speaker. You're,
you know,
quite succinct.
I enjoy, I find people and communication and all of that very, very interesting and exciting.
I think if you can be, you're very real and you're you present without an ego. And I think one of the most important things, if you have the best teachers, sometimes you ever feel any kind of thing, they teach with an ego, they'll tell you a lot of stuff that doesn't, like you said, doesn't really need to be there.
Right.
Almost because are they saying it for you or for them? If they know they're teaching you something and you don't need that, you're not there yet, if that conversation, and they're still
Right.
teaching you it, who are they teaching? What end are they? But if they cut it back, are they going to seem like they're teaching something simple? Is it because then it's an ego thing? Are they worried about them or is it teaching? And that's where you're not worried about that. You're you know what I'm saying?
I teach
That's how it comes
very
across to me.
well, thank you. I like to teach very foundationally. You can't run before you walk. You can't build a house without a foundation.
Probably can. There's probably TikTok videos of this stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You know, you can't.
Running without
Perhaps
walking, or
there
a house
is,
without foundation.
and it's like,
gotta be
guess
a TikTok.
what? Yeah, they open the door and it's
I know,
like a
like-
Bugs Bunny, you know,
Right.
cartoon. It's like
The Chaplin. He's
right, exactly. You can't build upon things without a foundation. And I'm sure
Right.
a lot of my students who are watching this are chuckling to themselves, and they should be. You guys, you should be. You need to set a good foundation in order to grow. You need water for a plant to grow. You need to eat so that your body grows and becomes strong. I you know, you can't go to a beginner and be like, all right, so we're going to learn this Jimmy Page solo. And they've just picked up the guitar yesterday. No. But what can you do? Hey, there's this really great song called Your Time Is Gonna Come that has a D and a C and a G chord in it. Let's start there. You want to play Jimmy Page as a beginner? All right, well, we can do that. But let's start from a song that is perhaps a bit more palatable and digestible for someone who's a beginner. As you grow, you build these blocks. Okay. You know what? I'd love to learn the riff from, you know, Over the Hills and Far Away. Great. Let's talk about it.
What about timing? Like for like a metronome and stuff. Some people say yes. Some
yes,
people say yes. Some
always.
people say no.
I don't. You need to use a metronome. The end. You have to. If you want to be a good rhythm player, you need to play with the metronome. You want to be a good solo guitarist, you need to play with the metronome. Having that timing and that thing that keeps time accountable, and PS, it never gets tired. It never gets tired. So it's going to keep you
shows
accountable.
up late like the drummer. It'll always be there for you.
My drummers never show up late.
Well,
my drummers are. I lie about the time. One of my drummers is always a little late, and I give him the wrong time on purpose. I give him, you know, half hour before call time actually is, and he always shows up.
I also heard there's free pizza early too. I don't know. You want to come by early and grab some before it's all gone.
I mean, they would all go for that too. I actually make pizza. I make pizza for my bandmates. So I don't know if you, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, or perhaps, perhaps familiar with the Petrilli pizzas, but yeah, I'm Italian too. I'm sure you guys can tell by my last name. But yeah, I make pizzas, and during, you know, certain band rehearsals, if I have time,
I'd be early.
Oh yeah. My boys are never never late. They're never late. So
let's say you're either too new, just picking up, or you're intermediate player. They got a spot for you? Like, is it all gonna you're gonna kind of teach for everybody, or what do you kind of focus on?
I have a handful of beginners. I prefer to have folks reach out once they've learned their bar chords and their regular chords to reach out. I mean, I love to teach beginners and all that. I really, really do. But to get the most out of the lessons, I prefer students who already have at least that foundation of, they said, hey, can you play an A chord here towards the headstock? Can you also play the A major bar chord with the root on the E string? I want them to know that level of information before we really go in. I think they'll get a lot more out of the lessons.
I don't think I could ever play bar chord. I think I have to break my finger to play bar chord.
You can play bar chords. Trust me.
You can play I can do everything. I can do a lot of things, but that's the worst thing for me.
You can do it. You can do
anything with that. I'm like, I'm gonna do bar chord. I'm gonna take the garbage and come back and play another
Slow and steady.
I keep trying. It's just
it has a lot to do with the thumb, by the way.
Does it?
It does.
Yeah. See, there you go. So how do you balance your time? Because you have a band, you do all different projects. How do you schedule your whole because media right now for guitar and for a lot of people now, everyone's got like a lot of plates spinning in the air or whatever expression you're going to use as a creative force, because you have a band too,
I do.
which is a separate creative endeavor, as long as teaching and keeping up students, and you got to come up with new stuff. You got a lot going on. How do you keep it all going so still fresh too?
Time management is very important to me. I make sure to take 2 days off every week. So I work 5 days a week, and I'm very, very diligent about that. My days off are my days off. My students know when they are. If they
Yeah,
email me on one of those days off, I do not get back to them until, working hours.
that's
I
good. It's
keep
not like
that.
you're a doctor.
Yeah, I keep that promise to myself, because if you can't keep your glass full, how can you fill up, others with good intentions and with good things? You can't take care of other people if you can't take care of yourself. So it is really, really important
Often
to me.
said, never fulfilled though.
Yeah, I really do it.
That's a
at
big
Petrilli.
glass you got there too, though. So
It is a
that,
20. They don't even make these anymore. This was from Starbucks, like probably a million years ago. It's the Venti. And they don't even, I saw one of these on eBay for like $60. I'm like, come on, man. But it's a big, as you can tell, I'm a little under the weather. So I'm drinking lots of tea and trying to stay healthy.
It's just so but when you do your full glass, it is probably a bigger glass than most people too. So when you do your full 5 days, it's
big Venti.
Symbolically right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tea. I don't drink coffee. So I don't like coffee at all. So, but yeah, it is important to me to really take care of myself, make time to exercise, eat well, all of that good stuff, and time to truly rest.
What about guitar playing, like for fun, like play, because you're playing it so much, though, is there a certain point where you're like, I need to practice too, or you practice as part of your weekday schedule or whatever your days? You know what I'm saying?
The off time I have keeps me excited, keeps me fulfilled, keeps my brain clear. So yes, I do make time to practice. I don't particularly get tired of the instrument. I love it. It's an extension of myself. So I never get tired of it.
It seem too personal. I think I'm trying to, like, it's more of a scheduling thing, if you get what I'm saying here. I like to do more of a big picture, because we all have different things going on in our lives, and no one has like a life like yours. But like, if I'm working and I come home and play guitar, or like, these are just kind of some good tips just in general as a person, how to break up your schedule and balance it. But also, when someone's playing guitar and instruments so much, when are you finding time to do stuff? And when are you actually playing for fun? Or when are you know what I'm saying? If there is that, people just assume you just sit down for like 8 hours and play all day long, and it's wisdom comes out of you, and you just want to that.
Yeah. I wish I had 8 hours a day to practice. That I don't.
Oh, right.
But I make the best out of my time when I do practice, songwrite, whatever it is. First of all, the phone goes away. Because that is the biggest distraction, I think. Biggest distraction. And if you need to physically put it in a different room, then do it. Sometimes I have to do that. I get it. Because sometimes I like to, check up on emails if I'm back and forth with someone, because I'm very, very diligent. I take what I do very seriously. I uphold a very, professional demeanor in how I run my business, because this is what it is. Like, sure, it's, guitar playing and all that stuff, but this is a brand and this is a business. I take it very seriously. When it is time to practice, it is time to practice. I take all distractions out of the way. It's like, all right, what are the things I want to focus on today? I'm a big fan of lists. All right. Oh yeah. I gotta finish writing that one bit of that song I was working on the other day. Okay. Let's brainstorm. Let's get that cooking. All right. Yeah. Let's get into some rudiments. All right. Let's go through that circle of fifths. Let's go through that circle of fifths exercise I really like, with the metronome. Always. Yes. Always with that metronome. I like it. But having lists is really helpful, and it feels really good to cross something off a list. For me, it's great to be like, all right, that's done. Check it off the list. Great.
I'm a list person myself too.
I love a list.
I have a job and the show. And everything else, I'd forget it.
It keeps me accountable. It keeps me accountable in a similar way that metronome does too. So it's like, this is my time. The way that I look at it is like this. Well, gosh, what does it say about me if I do all this stuff for other folks, and I teach and all that stuff, which is absolutely fulfilling to me too. Do not get me wrong. I love it. And I do all this other stuff. And it's like, God, I can't even take an hour to like practice on something I want to do. What does that say? So I make that time to like really put myself as a priority in certain aspects as well. Because again, if I am not fulfilled and taking care of myself, how can I take care of other people?
It holds over like to some people, even like with, if you have you take care of somebody, you're a caregiver, you're this, you're
Oh
that.
yeah.
You don't take care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's why you break down. You have a hard time. You need to do it. You're the best guitar player in to your capacity because you're doing what you can do, and you're the best person you can be each time you're with your students, whether you're
Right.
teaching a video or whatever, because you're at your best.
Yes.
And if
And
you're half, they're getting the half of you.
it's not good, and that's why I have a wait list, and I'm sure I could take on more students, at least one-on-one. I'm sure I could, but what would be the cost? Would I start getting too tired? I wouldn't be fully, completely present with the students that I do have. That's not fair. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. So it's just taking care of yourself, really looking at it in a really clear, honest way with yourself. Okay, this is what I can do, and this is great. And am I doing my best? And keep checking in with yourself. Is this my best? Yes. If it's your best, go.
It's a pretty fantastic attitude.
Yeah.
It's refreshing. So how do you go about deciding when you like for practicing for you and for students? Like, how do you set up? Like, what do you think the level of like when you're ready to move on, or anybody's ready to move on?
And again, it's all foundational. And I tell my students too, you guys know how you learn better than anybody else. So I encourage all of them. Hey, are you more of a visual learner? Do you like to read things? Do you like to take notes? Like, what are things that work for you? And that's something that we talk about a lot. For me, I really, in learning, certain key signatures and notes on the fretboard and, notes in a key, flashcards were killer for me. I loved them. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Flashcards are great. I would have the key signature of G with the 1 sharp and go, oh yeah, G major. Cool. Okay. Oh my gosh. Those helped me a ton. That's
a good idea. Like I have a problem, and I've heard my peers in the same middle, low range, cowboy chords, and I'll play some melodies, whatever. But you learn something, and then you move on to another segment because we're not professional players. So you play, a couple times a week and you practice, but then you go back to the end, you totally forget it. Like to retain something on that level, you know what I mean? When you're not playing that much, is the biggest challenge.
You have to play every day. You can't play a couple times a week. You play every day and you keep. Oh yeah. Key G. What were those notes again? Oh yeah, it had the 1 sharp. What sharp was it? Oh, it was F. Okay, so F.
That's what happened. Well, I was playing a lot, and then I got real busy doing the show too.
Right.
So I was only playing a couple times, ironically, on the music show. I was playing less because of music. But that was happening. I'm like, oh my God, I just knew this. And there you go.
You gotta keep at it. And I'm someone who does that too. If I feel like, ooh, am I kind of slipping in this? Because listen, we're human. Our brains are so big. There's so much that we could keep retained in our brain. I get it. I am human.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's certain things I'm like, oh, did I forget those notes in there?
Yep.
Right, let me go back. It just needs a little WD-40 in there and you're good. And that's okay. And that's part of being human too. Guess what? I don't know everything, and that's okay. It's okay.
You ever take a break from the guitar? Like once a week? So you're like, take a vacation like for a week or two, put the guitar down. Like totally.
I'd like to have it around just because I don't like to get rusty. I was in Italy with my family for 5-6 weeks in 2019, which was like kind of awesome timing. Really glad we all did that family vacation together.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a guitar with me for part of it. And oh boy, when I got back home, I could tell like, oh, I play a lot slower now. So it was rudiments for a good 3 weeks to get back. At least for me, I like doing those rudiments to get me.
Well, that makes sense to me. I've heard guitarists say they'll go off tour, other guitarists, and I've always heard them like, and the more I play guitar, I'm like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
They tell you, and he's like, like, yeah, put it on for months on end. I'm like, and then you just pick it up and like get ready to record an album. I'm like, to the quality of the albums that you've been doing or whatever. I'm like, that's insane to me. I would feel like it's an exercise. It's still a muscle. It's still.
Yeah, but just like going to the gym too, you don't go for a while and then you're like, oh, I used to bench this and now I can only bench this. So let's go back and build up to that. And it's being humble and being very honest with yourself. Like, okay, did I kind of fall a couple pegs? Yes. Is this the end of the world? No. Am I going to get back to where I was? Yes.
It's like having a guitar rack because it's fun to just pick up every now and then. I don't think it's better than pick up the phone too.
Yeah.
Unless the people in the room are just irritated because we always pick up.
You
That's
know
another
that
that's
you know
another
I
issue.
think social I think in a lot of ways social media is absolutely lovely. I've met some of my closest friends through social media. There's some really really beautiful opportunities that have come my way through social media,
Right.
you know, and I choose to look at the good side of all of that, but are there some bad things that go along with it? Of course, you know, so it's really keeping, for me it's keeping a time on it. Phone time for me, I have a limit.
So let's talk about you as an original
Sure,
player in your
sure,
band.
sure.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about first your band.
Yeah. So I was in a band from 2003 to 2019 called Roses and Cigarettes with my bandmate Jenny Pagliaro, who was absolutely incredible and awesome, one of the coolest singers and people I got to make music with. It was such a joy and an honor to share the stage with her and write music with her. Truly thankful every day. She was in my life. So we recorded 2 full-length albums and an acoustic EP. We did that, and it was just a wonderful wonderful time in my
Mhm.
life. So thankful for it. Truly I look back and I'm just so thankful. um so we did that, and I lost her to cancer in 2019.
I'm sorry.
So it took some time. You talked about taking a break from music.
Yeah, I
i
wasn't
took
aware
i
actually
took
aware of that, so I do apologize. Right, I knew the music part, but
yeah
I didn't know that little.
yeah I took some time to grieve and to uh just take some time to be and just figure out what
You should.
the next phase looked like. And I think in a lot of ways I still am searching with, you know, what the next phase is looking like, and it, you know, changes all the time. And but that's, you know, life, and it's a journey, and you grow and you learn, and you know, you're thankful for the folks you've had in your life. And she's definitely one of those people. She's been my life's greatest teacher as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And we did that together. And it's just again a really really beautiful part of my life, and glad I got to share that with her. And in 2020 at Sunset Sound, my band was asked to do their series called Into the Vault and to
Yep.
recreate a song that was recorded at Sunset Sound. And, you know, they were like, you should do Zeppelin. And I'm like, everybody's going to expect me to do Zeppelin. I'm not going to, at least not in the full, I'm not going to do a full Led Zeppelin song. I'm going to do something else completely out of left field. And in my previous band with RNC, I always did background vocals. I didn't sing lead
Mhm.
on anything. That was definitely like Jenny's territory, and she just killed it. But with this new phase, I'm like, let me just give this a try and see how this feels. So I'm singing lead in this new band, which has been really really fun. We're called Angela Petrilli and the Players, and we ended up doing that Into the Vault series, and we did a cover of Audio Slave's Number 10, because I figured,
Nice.
why not just sing Chris Cornell? It's like totally good idea. But it was really fun, and we recreated the tune. It's always been one of my favorite songs that Audio Slave did. And like, let's recreate it, make it kind of bluesy and haunted and creepy. And then at the end, you know, throw in a little Led Zeppelin nod, because you know, because Zeppelin 2 was recorded in there. So did a little
I'm
nod at
happy
the end.
that.
Those of you who haven't seen the video, you can go ahead and check it out
I
on
haven't
YouTube.
seen
It's up
that
there.
more of the series, but I haven't seen that. I think it's a great series. I think
Yeah, go check it out.
they've been doing a lot of really good things there. They've
They
kind of
have.
upped
They
their game in the
have.
past, like, I don't know, year or 2 years of videos. They've
They got
kind of
some
hopped in and
great content there. Great
yeah.
content. Mhm.
That's one of the problems again that we're talking about. It's just there's so much real good content. It's not any garbage out there. Like for it's just so much good music content out there to learn.
Totally.
Um, that's a question right there. Singing and singing lead vocals and playing lead
Yes.
guitar
Yes.
to chewing gum and walking at the same time
Absolutely.
and doing hopscotch is what it's like to me. It's like
Yeah,
doing
and
5 things at
holding a
once,
parrot on your head. I think
right?
it's
How
all of
can
those
you?
things.
Yeah. How's that working for you?
You know, it's still a it's still a learning process
Because you can
for
be a very good
sure.
singer, but doing the two things at the same exact time is like crazy.
Yeah, you got to know, at least for me, and this is just my opinion, is you got to know when, all right, like solo goes here, you know, and you play these chords here. I'm very lucky to have a group of band members and friends who are all fantastic musicians who fill the space in a really beautiful way to allow me to you know, play the things I need to really uplift everything else and to tell the story.
Mhm.
Because to me, a band is it's a team effort. It's you know, that's how I look at the players. It's not just me, it's Angela Petrilli and these amazing players that I
Right.
have that want to, you know, that sit and, you know, we play music together and perform and all of that good stuff. It's still a learning process for me. It's fun. It's fun. It's a different kind of fun. It is a little challenging. And it's one of those things, you know, and I'm still learning it too. But you know, when you sing, sometimes some of the stuff you want to do on guitar isn't going to be as perfect as it would be if you didn't sing, and you got to be okay with that. That's where I'm at with it. Is all right. You know, there's certain things that aren't going to be perfect. That's okay. It's rock and roll.
See, I'm at the point where I still certain things I play guitar still can't be perfect. I'm just playing guitar, not even talking. I'm not even thinking. In fact, I'm just trying to play guitar, so I'm not even there. So the way you break things down now, did you go to other guitar singers, friends of yours, and say, "Hey, this whole new animal is singing and playing guitar"? Did you get different perspectives? Because I've heard like almost there's two mindsets. That's what I've heard is the way you do it, and then there's some people. And these guys, you're like, I don't even know how you drive a car. Like they feel like they can't do anything. When they play a guitar and they sing, that timing, they have it perfect. And you're like, how do you do that? And you're like, oh, no. Those are the two kinds. Or like you are, you're figuring it out. And
and I think a lot of it is just letting go and just giving in too. It's like, all right, just let the music flow through you. It'd be okay. Yeah.
That'll be the challenge then, right? It's figuring how much to let go and how much to keep in control and
it's fun.
Balance.
It's fun. I am really enjoying it. It's a challenge that I really, really like right now. It's a fun challenge. It's a fun challenge. Yeah, for sure. Great question.
Oh, thank you. So, great guest. So to this point, what is the plan with you? Like, so are you just keeping the shows? Are you gonna with your band? Are you looking to do? You know, finally, is COVID opened or doesn't open? I don't know. I don't want to say anything right now, right?
You know, at least here in LA, the COVID stuff is still. You know, there's a lot. You know, there's a lot of people still getting sick. So, you know, that determines how many venues, you know, can be opened and all of that. As far as the players, we have our comeback show on September 8th in Los Angeles, the place called The Mint, which is on Pico Boulevard, probably one of my favorite venues here in LA. They're like family to me over there. I love those guys at The Mint. They're great. So we're going to be doing a show there. It's going to be our comeback show. We play at 8:00 to like 8:40, you know, 8:15 to 8:45, which is great. Like good half-hour set to get the.
We know they're gonna be on time because it's just late on time.
Yes,
so you're late.
It's an early show, guys. It's an early show, which I'm actually like kind of excited about it. Not gonna lie. It's like in bed by 11. I'm like, yeah, that's great. So yeah, it'll be really fun. We're opening up.
So rock and roll, playing out what time your slippers will be on.
Hey, like that's another thing too. Like if you do this kind of stuff. I am a big believer in taking care of your body and your mind. You know, get your sleep, get your 8 hours.
I believe. I
you know, I stay very hydrated at shows. Yeah, drink a lot of water. That whole thing. Yeah. I like to take care of myself because I really love what I do. So I really make sure to take care of myself.
You'll be able to do it when you're like in your 80s. You'll still be able to do it.
Yeah, I hope so. If people still want to, you know.
Well, actually,
want to go and see that.
Rolling Stones didn't take care of themselves. They're still doing it. So I don't. I really.
Hey, they're killing Stones. They're killing it. God, they're great. I believe it was Mick Jagger's birthday yesterday, or the day before.
Just recently, yeah. You see pictures of him with his kids and his.
God bless them. God bless all those guys.
There's something.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
So what about recording? Are you gonna be doing any kind of recording?
Yeah, I plan to do some recording the end of the year. Got some original tunes. You know, still need some tweaking and playing out.
That's what it really comes down to. It's fun to play covers and do everything. When you really get down to the end of your day as a creative force, you kind of want to write something of your own. Doesn't matter.
We'll be debuting an original at the Mint on the 8th. It's a cool instrumental piece that we wrote, about a year ago. I went and rented a house in Joshua Tree for my band, and I go, listen, like, let's just all be together and play some music and cook some good food, and you know, wrote some tunes, which was really fun. So you know, there are a handful from that session that really like that I think we'll go somewhere and we'll end up somewhere, which was really great. But yeah, we wrote this really fun instrumental tune that we're going to go ahead and debut at the Mint. So that'll be really fun.
I do want to step back and say the idea of you renting a house and doing like that and making a film thing is so like 1970s, early 80s. And it's so great because that's kind of like one of the things that you find is missing now, like the organic growth of a band together, because you got to have good and bad together. You got to know this person. Oh, this person's whatever. Put your shoes outside, or this person's great, or he's the funniest person ever. And there's different inspirations, and then you put it all together, and you put it together in a song. You create something together.
Yeah, it was a super fun week. We had a really, really great time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun hang. Yeah, I found a house in Joshua Tree on 5 acres, so we can get plenty loud.
Wow.
And I told the guys, I go, listen, bring your instruments. We can get loud. The owner said it's cool. So let's, she's like, as long as you put all the, as long as you put the furniture back where it was, we're good to go. And had a really, really great time. So yeah, so this tune that we're going to debut, I think it picks up a lot of that cool energy. Yeah. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, we'll look at it, and then as these things come out, look for stuff on my media also. If you post stuff, I'll put up my media as you have things to remind people to come back and check out your stuff. And of course, we'll have you back too. Before we end, I do want to talk about a little bit about your guitar setup. We'll go too deep because I actually like to do my own guitar gear show too. I'm a low end version of it. What is your go-to favorite guitar right now, and what's your basic setup? Just your basic setup.
Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna do acoustic and electric.
Yeah, one of each
episodes. Right. Okay, so as far as my electrics, I love them all. I do. You know how this goes. I love them all. Today, at least for the electric side, because I consider the electrics and acoustics completely different monsters. So you're gonna get two different answers for me. And I hope that's okay. My Fender American Deluxe that I most recently used on the Fishman Riff Rundown. It's an American Deluxe. I have it just plays so well.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
Thank you. It plays so well. I believe it's it's either a 98 or 99. I forget. I have to look at the serial number again and see. I think it's a 98. I bought it as a high school graduation gift for myself. Because at the time, and apparently this isn't a thing. I guess kids don't have to take the SAT anymore. I heard. I know. Whatever. I heard this.
They told me it was important. They also told me college was important too. And they said everything's going to lie. They told me, they said quicksand was a thing too, but well, I'll stop there. Okay.
So I bought that for myself because at least in the time when I was in high school, they had the college prep, SAT prep classes.
I do. I remember them.
Okay. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Like, why? I'm still going to go to college. I don't need to take a test. I don't need to take a class to get better at a test. It didn't make sense to me. So that money that probably I would have put towards that, I'm like, I'm buying myself a guitar. I'm buying myself a Strat, like a real good Strat. So that's what I did. I'm like, you suckers who paid for this SAT, which means nothing now. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I think I made the right decision.
Actually, I know I made an investment. Your parents may have time, but that's actually an investment.
It's an investment. That guitar has been very, very good to me. So I bought that guitar. I love that guitar. It just plays and sounds exactly how I want it to. If I am going to go in the studio with the Strat, I'm most likely going to bring that one, unless I really need like a maple neck and fretboard. I'll bring another Strat, but that one I just love so much. I have the Fishman Fluence pickups in there, which, oh man, if you haven't heard those in a Strat, they're great.
I haven't. No. Well, on yours, you had that, yeah.
They're pretty. It's really? Pretty rocking. I'm really happy. I brought that. I remember when I first had them put in a few years ago, and I went to play with my buddy Eric Tesmer at his EP release down in Austin. I brought that Strat and played on stage with him, and he's got a 59, like a no joke 59. This thing is beautiful. It's awesome. It sounds so good, particularly in his hands. It sounds fantastic. And I had a bunch of people in Austin come up to me after the show and like, so what kind of pickups do you have in that thing? And I was just like thinking, yes, this thing passed the Austin, Stratocaster test. Yeah. This is great. They're super cool pickups. I truly, and they're so quiet too. And it has that Strat sound that I love. It just nails that tone and makes me so happy. Because for me, an electric guitar, it's good when you could plug it straight into an amp and it sounds just magical. That's how you know you have a really great guitar.
This is torturing me because I've been talking. I have an Aria Pro there. It's like it's 82 or 83. I can't remember what it is. It's a great old Japanese made style guitar. It sounds great. Original pieces for it. So I'm gonna have it stripped down. I have a guitar guy's gonna colors, change the color and stuff. But I'm on the fence. I keep the parts, I put new parts in. I keep hearing people talk about different things, and I'm like, what about this pickup? I go back and I'm like, oh, now I hear this. And I've heard your guitar. I'm like, oh my god, now because it is Strat. I like that Strat sound. I really want a
It's
good.
awesome.
I want a flexible sound too, though, because I want that really. With a good Strat sound, you can be kind of warm. You can flavor a little bit with different effects and just turn things slightly, and that's so important too.
I agree, and those pickups sound really, and they just have different variations. It's really cool. It sounds really, really great with pedals too. Go and watch the video I did at Sunset Sound, and that's the Strat I use there.
Yeah,
I remember sending it. I sent the audio to a buddy, and he's like, "Did you use a Les Paul on that?" I'm like, nope. Like that's all Strat. He's like, God, it just sounds so big and heavy, but also really, really delicate. So that's my favorite Strat.
That's a perfect expression right there.
Yeah.
That's the breakdown. I think I've actually said something similar to that before. I'm like, I don't want to have a million guitars. Some of these are my kids and stuff. We pick up, we share stuff, but
they're tools.
I don't feel like I need a million guitars. I want a couple good guitars, and then be flexible with them.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you there, 100%.
So I'm looking for a good pickup that's going to kind of work with me.
I mean, that's my vote, and that's what I've had it in my Strat for a while. I love it.
Right.
I love it.
I'm gonna do more research.
Do some research.
Do some research. Jerkhead.
I do this all the time. I do this all the time with friends. Like my buddy was looking for an Fender Excelsior amp. Have you heard of those?
Yep.
They're wacky. I love them. Anytime it makes sense to record with one of those at a session, I will. I think they're so cool. But I was cruising through Craigslist a couple of years ago, and I saw one. And it was exactly what my buddy was talking about, like the day before I was recording with him. He's like, man, I really want this kind of stuff. And I remember just sending him the link. And then the next day he sends me a picture and he's like, damn you, it's in my trunk now. Like, you're welcome. I do this all the time with my friends. Yeah, my buddy Zach was looking for a telly. And I'm like, hey, buddy of mine still had a telly. Check it out.
It's taking me so long. I've actually stopped. I'm I was going to the guitar done before. I keep stopping to redesign. I keep thinking about what I want to do with it.
Yeah. So sometimes you just got to go gut instinct. And it's like, this is what I need to do. And just do it. And just do it. Right. Just blinders and just do it.
Yeah, I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a couple of them. I'm going to break them down and I'm going to do a test. I want to go to your thing and go back and forth and
try them out. So, and if they're not for you, they're not for you. But yeah, as far as my electric, that's my favorite one right now. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't even talk pedals. I mean, we can talk pedals too.
You talk about pedals. Comments, yeah.
We want to talk pedals? Okay. I have a Holy board, pedal board. Yeah. I hate Velcro or loop, and what do they call it? It's the non like the term that'll get you sued. Loop and something. I forget. Something like that. Whatever.
Don't get sued.
Yeah, I forgot.
The thing that fixes the thing.
Yeah. So I don't like Velcro because there was one time in particular, my complete pedal board just like it was one big glob of glue. I'm done. I
thought you could remember back when they made Velcro shorts. The flies were Velcro.
I do.
Okay, and that's why I hate Velcro.
I remember that. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's not going on a pedal board. No.
No.
There's a lot of shorts.
So yeah, I just had a really bad experience. I'm like, that's it. I'm done with that stuff. I'm done. So a buddy of mine turned me on to, he's like, yeah, there's this company called Holy Boards and you zip ties to zip tie your pedals to the board. And I loved it. And ever since then, that is what I've been using. I freaking love it. It's awesome. And it's really beautiful. I have the wooden kind, which he doesn't make anymore. He does lightweight aluminum now, and they look really, really sharp. They look great. But I use zip ties only. And it's great because if I'm like, I need a different overdrive, put the other one there, zip tie it, done. It takes 3 seconds versus, and then putting it back on.
And it stays clean. Sounds like it stays clean because Velcro never comes out clean. Everything's going to stick to it.
No. And it's like, the more you play, the more boutique pedals you get. I'm like, I'm not going to put a huge thing of Velcro on the back of this pedal. You're nuts. Oh God. Like even just like hearing that. Yeah, it's the worst. So I don't anymore. I hate Velcro on my pedal board. So I do zip ties. As far as my pedal source, I use a Voodoo Lab 4x4. Mm-hmm. I've got a compressor at the front. That's my one, is a compressor. and I use an Analog Man mini bicomp. So it's got the juicer side and the raw side, which I really like. So you get two different kinds of compression, which is kind of cool. Then I have my tuner. Reason why I do that, a good friend of mine he's toured with Social D and Mike Ness and a bunch of other people. He's an amazing, his name's Chris Lawrence. He's just awesome. He told me that trick. He goes, well, think about what a compressor does. It sustains a note, right? Okay. So putting that ahead in the part, place one of your chain, you go ahead and you click on that compressor, you hit your note, the sustain runs a lot longer so that the tuner can read the note better. And I'm like, sold, really cool. So that's what I do. I don't use a compressor a ton, just because I used to play a lot more country-ish stuff. I don't so much these days. So the compressor doesn't come on as often for me, but I do use it as a tool to tune and all of that. And sometimes, if I need a little clean boost, sometimes I'll use it for that.
Okay.
But I like mids. So I know compressors tend to squash mids. So I don't use it a ton, but it is cool. It is cool. So then I do tuner, then I go into the wah. So my buddy Eric Tessmer currently, he's working on my wah right now. I go, just do whatever you can to make this sound like an Italian wah. So he's working on that. So that'll be cool. He's so good with all those transistors and like doing all that stuff. So I'm like, just take as long as you need to make that wah sound.
I think that's an important statement as a guitar player to realize that that not all guitar players need to learn how to wire and do electricity. That's an important thing that some guitar players think you have to. I'm like, that's where I'll step back. I'm like, oh, I won't wire my guitar.
Yeah, like it
might work, and then somebody bangs you, and the next my soldering's not going to work.
No, I know where I stop. Yeah. That's one of those things. So, and Smart. My buddy Eric's really, really good at it. So I'm like, here you go. And just let me know if you need anything else from me. So he's working on that. So that's third in the chain. From there, I do fuzz. I have a Thorpe Fallout Cloud fuzz. It's awesome. That's what I've got on my board right now. I love it. I have the Dane Overdrive, also by Thorpe. Really, really cool. If you're familiar with Pete, Danish Pete from Andertons, that's his signature pedal. It's rocking. I love it. And then from there, I have delay. So I use the Strymon El Capistan, that tape delay. It's so good. I love that delay. There, huh? Wow. It's fun. It's fun, but it's very simple. I don't do crazy. I everything on my board gets used. I don't have a pedal. I'm like, I kind of use it sometimes. The compressor I use a ton. It, more so as a tuning thing. But if I'm doing kind of country-ish stuff and I got a telly, you better believe that compressor is going to go on. So I have it there. So then after the delay, I have phase. So just MXR phase 90. Love it. Classic. Standard. And then I go out with the Analog Man, the TR2 mod, the Super Trem. Oh man. It's great. It's great. So he mods a Boss TR2 and makes it just above and beyond absolutely incredible. So, and that's the trem I have. And then that's the out.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's quite a nice little rig you got there.
It's fun. I love it. It's a good board. I've had it like that for a few years. I've been very, very happy with it. The Thorpe pedals have been new to the board. But I don't see them coming off anytime soon. They're fantastic.
We may have to have you come back just to do a walkthrough with your board and the sound.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be fun.
Fantastic.
Sure.
I've just started doing my own gear things and just breaking it down and getting geeky with it. And the sounds of that, I in my mind, I just want to imagine just go through it. We'll have to just.
Yeah, one of these days. Sure. Let me know.
Go. Okay. Yeah.
And then as far as acoustic, I have a 2010 OM 28V Martin guitar that is very near and dear to me. It's probably my favorite guitar that I own. I love it. It's a really special
awesome guitar. So
it's a special one. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good. Those are really good. Thank you. We got a lot of information.
Yeah. Fantastic.
This is awesome. I want everyone to check you out. Check out all the links are going to be here. And I want to have you come back again. We'll jump another time and we'll promote some of your stuff if you want.
Absolutely. Sure.
Really good.
It's been really so lovely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
This has been fun. This really has been fun.
Likewise. Awesome. Take care, Sean. Thanks
you.
again.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
week. Talk soon. Bye.